Hi, Sparkles, and welcome back to Intuitive Wisdom. This is episode 225. Today's episode is part of our monthly reflection and insight series with Christina. And this year we're doing things a little differently. Instead of goal setting from the head or creating endless to-do lists, we're choosing one meaningful theme each month, something that meets the energy of the times we're living in. And this month's focus is heart-aligned action. This conversation is an invitation to drop out of your head and into your heart, to soften the need to know what's next, to feel your way forward, to create, to play, and to give yourself permission to become, rather than forcing yourself to figure it all out. This has been a very different year energetically, and the old way of doing annual reviews just doesn't resonate anymore. Instead, we're exploring new definitions of alignment and acceptance, where alignment isn't about chasing something outside yourself, but recognizing your own frequency and noticing what naturally meets you there. The people, the opportunities, the experiences that truly match. We also talk about the season of New Year because it isn't just one day. With Human Design New Year and the Chinese New Year both arriving in February, this is a time of reflection and recalibration and intentional direction. Not rushing, not pushing, but listening. Christina and I dive into how we each communicate and receive information differently, and how having that reflected back by others offers powerful insight, and why these conversations are such a gift. And as always, Christina closes us out with a perfectly aligned card pull that lands exactly where it needs to be. So take a breath, settle in, and let this be a heart-led moment just for you. Here we go. Welcome to Intuitive Wisdom, a space where insight meets energy and intuition leads the way. I'm K. Margaret Solorio, author, Angel Reiki Master, biotech graduate, and a guide for those seeking alignment in their home and life. Whether you're navigating change, clearing emotional clutter, or simply craving clarity, Intuitive Wisdom invites you to slow down, tune in, and rise into your authentic self. New episodes weekly. Come home to your own knowing. Okay, Sparkles, quick announcements before we get to the conversation with Christina. First, have you taken my free quiz yet? It's called Is Your Home Supporting Your Expansion? It only takes a few minutes, and you'll get clear insight in how your space may be shaping your energy and where you can start to shift things. Go to deliciousease.com/quiz. And if your space feels heavy, stuck, or just a little off, my Home Frequency Reset is a remote, intuitive, energetic refresh designed to bring your space, your home, or your workspace back into harmony with you. It's perfect if you're craving a fresh start or a deeper alignment. You'll find that again at my website, deliciousease.com. And my book, Make Ease Your Vibe, is available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle versions, and it's packed with practical strategies to help shift your mindset, your energy, and your relationship with time. So helping you raise your daily frequency and make ease a regular thing, part of your life. Plus, you'll get access to exclusive chapter bonuses. Once you purchase your copy, you can go to my website, deliciousease.com, click on book, and enter your information and get access there. And last but not least, listener support. In addition to leaving a 5-star rating review, if you haven't done that, please take 20 seconds to do that in your favorite podcast app. Leave me a 5-star rating and a review to help this podcast grow. You can now also donate and become an active supporter. If you click and on the link in the show notes, you'll go there, and active donors right now will get a shout out on each month you contribute. We'll get a shout out on the podcast, of course, and also a special blessing and energy sent your way. All right, let's get to the conversation with Christina on heart-aligned action. Hello, Christina, again. It's so nice to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good. I'm actually renewed energy excited for our conversation today. To share with listeners, we're doing a little bit of a different spin in that we actually picked a topic for today. I think we'll still do a lot of review, but in my personal New Year's kind of like review and trying to still do annual reviews and plan out my year, I've really just kind of gotten not stuck in a bad way, but just kind of had this feeling of a real shift in energy. Like the energy that kind of really masculine, do it, figure it out, plan it, make it happen kind of energy is not vibing this year. So I just feel like I've got a lot to learn. When I tuned into the angels to ask for guidance for our topic, what came back was heart aligned actions. Reading from my notes, drop from your head to your heart. Don't worry about what's next. Feel into it. Have fun, be creative. So very much more of that in the flow energy. And that's kind of what it's felt like when I go to make plans, and I put out some goals, things I want to do. So that feels good. But a lot of times in my attempts to review and set those goals, it really feels like this is a bit of a time of becoming. And in becoming, it just feels, what's the right word? Silly is not quite the right word. Like useless is not quite the right word either. It feels like putting the cart before the horse to put a bunch of goals together when I don't totally feel settled with the energy of who I am becoming. Mm-hmm. And then I can trust in, like, I've been going back to a lot of, positive mindset and all that stuff. That's my new foundation is really helpful, and trusting, just having to trust in the pace and find the joy in every day and know that me pushing doesn't mean it's going to get done faster. Yeah. Me being aligned and knowing my own frequency means it's going to get done when it needs to get done. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think that makes complete sense. And I think that is right on time when we were talking about, what we wanted to do and how we wanted to structure this year and doing our monthly reflections and having some topics and things. And we were going back and forth. And I think that going into this year, and we had talked about it in our last podcast too, of just that like energy of not having to start right on January 1st, right? And kind of easing our way into the year. And I thought it was really interesting that when we're recording it, it is the start for like human design. It's the start of the year. Like this is the energy of starting the stuff, of doing the things and being at that from that more nuanced place. And I think that the more that you learn about yourself and more that you dive in and the more that you've been taking actions and doing all of these things, like this work has been ongoing, right? Like we've been doing this work for years. Yes. And I think that the more that you do it though, that you start to be able to sift out from these blanket statements of from the really masculine energy of do, just get it done, just, keep pushing stuff out there. And the feminine, like, oh, just wait and like let everything just come to you and not really plan anything. But being able to have that attunement to yourself and like you're saying, like, I'm waiting for this energy to come in and I'm kind of allowing that before I make my decisions. And I think that that's where so many of us can get stuck, is that we think that we have to do it on a certain timeline. We think that we have to take this action, do this stuff. And we aren't even giving ourselves that space or that grace like you're doing to be able to make sure that the direction that we're going is where we actually want to wind up.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
I think that being able to take that and take a pause, a lot of times we think that faster, we just have to keep moving. It is the way to do it. But exactly like you're saying, like taking the pause and being able to like think and give yourself the space to come up with that intention is going to be so much more productive in the long run. It's like when I sit there and I'll look at or be sitting in the spin of my mind of like all the things I need to do for the day. Like, oh my gosh, I have all these things and I could do this and I could do that and I could do all this stuff, sitting on a weekend day and like, oh, I have all this space. What do I have to do? And sitting and taking the time to actually just write out what I think that I'm going to do or what I want to do, then I can pick the things that actually are going to move the needle instead of just jumping in thinking that I'm just going to be faster because I'm not going to take that time. But doing this on a bigger scale, like you're doing this on a bigger scale of...
That's a good way of putting it. And that's one reason, so I'm going to interrupt since I
Yeah.
already did. That's one reason I love talking to you, because you have such beautiful perspective. I don't think most of us are good at tuning into this larger perspective of seasons. Like when I first learned about the work that you do and it was aligning your life with your values, like manifesting that reality and not trying to fit your values into a different system, but like rework the system. It's still blows my mind. It's awesome. But I think also in these conversations, you have such wonderful perspective of like seasons, like honoring the season and not forcing all of that feeling and to-do lists. Like you said, like New Year's is one day. Woohoo. Are we just going to do that a day or feel guilty for a month because we're not there? Like giving it the space to be and actually focusing on what it matters. I think we get so easily lost. And I think we talked about that last month too. It's very easy to get lost in the to-dos. And it's more important to take a second. Like you said, if you make a list and then go back to the list and go, wait a second, what's actually going to help me achieve what I'm trying to do? You first have to know what direction. What's the intention here? What are you trying to achieve? Like what is it? The definition of happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. Like the same idea of you don't have to wait to get the goal to be happy. If the goal is to be happy, let's think about how that can happen now. And then you can do the stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true. And I mean, just for perspective, like moving into this year, I had ideas, I had intentions, I had things that I knew that I wanted to incorporate. And I started acting on them, like started doing some of those things. But I didn't even write down annual goals or intentions until like this morning. And when I'm going through and trying to do like part of my January monthly review and start getting that set, I was like, you know what? I should probably write some of these things down that I want to do so that I know. But I've been testing them out for the month. And being able to kind of check in and say like, okay, is this feeling good? Is this feeling like too much? Is this actually what I want? And I think that so often I would find that I would go through and make my goals for the year and have all these annual things. And then even with the process of like going back and reflecting, which I didn't do all the time, but I really did try to make an effort to do that monthly, some of them just wouldn't resonate. They wouldn't land for me anymore. And I was just like, why am I not doing this stuff? Oh, because I don't care. I mean, honestly, I just don't care.
You just reminded me. I had a conversation last week, an interview for the podcast. It won't come out till May, but Stephanie Bellini is her name. She had a new kind of way of looking at alignment that, how when you need to learn something, you hear it a million times, but it's that one person that says it one way and you're like, oh, wait, now I get it. I kind of had that kind of moment with the conversation. So she was talking about alignment because a lot of times when we talk or in the personal development world, alignment is spoken about. It's this thing that you have to force yourself into and then force like lining up beads on an abacus, like it all needs to be in a straight line. And that is hard because we're not straight lines. I don't know why it's hard, but she spoke of it in such a beautiful energy way that alignment is knowing your own frequency and then recognizing it outside of you, whether it's in someone or something. And that's kind of what you just said, where you gave yourself time to sort out where you are, like who you are in this month, let's say. And then you looked back at your list and was like, oh, that's not for me. Like that doesn't resonate. That's not at my frequency. That's not for me right now. That's not who I am. Like you could recognize what was in alignment instead of trying to force something into alignment or force yourself into alignment with something you think is good for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that is, I love the way that you bring that in and like the learnings from it. And you were saying too, like sometimes we can hear these things over and over and they don't land because you haven't heard somebody say it in a specific way, which I think is true. I also think that you weren't ready to hear it until then.
I don't know if I'm ready to admit that, but you're right.
Like on different levels though, because I feel like I have been in that place too, and I still find myself there like, all of a sudden I'm like, I have read the books. I have done the things. Like I've probably
Listen
heard
to the
this thing a
podcast.
million times, but the way that I was able to feel that when you were saying that was different than I have been able to. And it was because maybe I could intellectualize it, but I wasn't necessarily feeling it.
Yes. That's, I can't argue. I can't add anything to that either.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think that that brings us to like the topic of like heart aligned actions and learning how to take the steps that are actually feeling and resonating with us. Because I think that I have come from the push mentality, very much just go, just do it, just keep moving, and eventually all the things will work out. And I think that you can force things to happen sometimes, but I found for me, they didn't feel as good as I thought that they were going to
No.
when I got there. They didn't happen as quick
Falsified.
as I thought that they were going to. They didn't happen in the way that I thought, where finding that balance and kind of living in that space of nuance where you can bring in that masculine energy along with and having it grounded in that energetic reality of what you're desiring, and then things just kind of start to fill into place, and being able to be in that mode just feels so much like I can do the things that I have been putting off and procrastinating and whatever, and all of a sudden they feel so much easier because I am grounding myself in where I need to be. I've been doing some of these kind of similar, or goes in line topics on my podcast this month too. And one of the ones that I had talked about was like moving from this sense of like procrastination as something that I just need to push through versus knowing when procrastination is actually like my nervous system not regulated. And being able to learn how to identify the difference in that, and learning
Yeah,
how to
that's big.
regulate myself first. And when I would push through, my whole system would react and I would just be on an emotional hangover. Like, oh, I can't believe I did that. That was terrible. That was not what I wanted. And all of my like fears are coming true versus doing the same types of activities now in a regulated position. And it's great.
Wow.
And it's actually being taken and reciprocated, like the energy that I'm getting back from doing the same activities that I was pushing before is so much different because the energy I'm putting out there is so much different.
Amen. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot, when you were talking, what came up for me too was that I think what's changed for me recently is this idea of accepting who I am now. There's a lot of, doing all this work it's so excited. Who I am becoming is so exciting that I often focus like on my future self, or sometimes I get angry at my past self for not figuring it out sooner or whatever. I don't spend a lot of time appreciating who I am now and acknowledging that every day is a new day. So like who I am today, I'll be different, a little bit different tomorrow, because I'm constantly like learning and growing, and I enjoy that part of being alive. So that acceptance of where I am now and who I am now has definitely brought some calmness to my chaos, to my life. And that I think maybe that's what's allowed me to hear like the new alignment definition, or yeah, I hear what you're saying too.
So when you're talking about acceptance, I'm just curious, how does acceptance, like the word itself, feel in your body, and does it feel different than maybe it used to? Like if 5 years ago you would
Yes.
have been like, acceptance, what does that mean?
Oh, yes. Acceptance now feels like love. Like there's no judgment. There's no pressure. There's no should have been different, could have done this. It's just quiet, and it feels in my heart. It's out of my head, and it feels like I'm present in the moment, because even though I've preached it for a long time till I could retrain my brain that who you are now is enough, it's different to feel it. That takes a while. And I think 5 years ago, acceptance would have been defeat. It would have been like, oh, I'm accepting this because I couldn't do better, or I'm accepting this because I just give up, or I get, it wasn't a successful feeling.
Absolutely. And that's why I asked, because it's
Good
same.
point.
Like, as you're talking about it, I'm like, yes, absolutely. All of these things, it feels so good. And then I'm like, oh, 5 years ago, me would have been like, oh, if I'm accepting, then that's just, this is the most I think I can get. So
Yeah.
like you're saying, like
Oh.
that level of defeat, like, oh, I have to accept that this is as good as it's going to get for me. And then I just have to accept it. And it felt a little bit, the word felt like accepting table scraps, right? When there's this huge buffet that's out there. And if I was to give myself the ability to just accept where I was at, then that meant that that's all I was ever meant to be. And that was all I was ever going to be. And I think now, to your point, like I can see acceptance as the ability to know where I am, to know where I've come from, appreciate what is already here, and still anticipate. Like it's
Yes.
both.
Yes, it's both. It's very
And
positive.
yeah, and I just think that like being in that space, like even looking at, and I don't know, as type A overachieving tendencies as I have, as I think that you have
Oh,
too, like
yes, definitely.
the desire for always more, right? Like there's just this constant desire that I have for more. It's more money, it's more clients, it's more visibility, it's more fun, it's more joy, like it's more everything. I want more everything. And at the same time, I feel so much happier, grounded, like balanced in a way that like I don't feel like I'm on this roller coaster so much with my nervous system of everything externally being able to just get me off of whatever, like having a great day and somebody says something that might be construed as negative and just being able to like push me down. And that I think has come from this ability to be more in tune with myself, be more accepting of who I am, and that I'm a work in progress. Like, but the emphasis is also on like I'm a work in progress. I'm on my journey. Like this isn't the end.
Right, I'm
This is
working
where
on
I am.
progress.
Yeah, I'm progressing.
Yes.
This is part of it.
Yes, totally. That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's going to be my big takeaway from today. It's really mulling on that acceptance. Thank you for highlighting that. I did not see that, and I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, I think that for me, words matter, and I think that the words that
Yes,
we use
they do.
show those hidden things that we just are not aware of. So I try to notice myself, but I think it's hard to notice yourself, and being able to have somebody reflect back the words that they're hearing you say
And used
and
differently.
yeah, and dig into that a little bit more, I think can bring out like, oh, actually, no, that is true. I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but like hitting on those bigger themes, because I think that the way that we communicate is the way that we often think internally, or the way like
Yeah.
it's a projection of how we're feeling inwardly
Or even
as
how we
well.
process. I think we try to
Yeah.
squish our feelings into the language we have,
Yeah.
where the language doesn't always have words to accurately describe the feelings. So then that's how you're processing it, because that's the way you have to communicate it.
Yeah. And the way that you might interpret certain words and what they mean to you might be different,
That has
right?
come up so many times this month. I cannot even tell you. It's
Yeah.
like there's one example where something we were traveling on, and someone said something and somebody else translated it for me. And I was like, okay, I don't think that's how you meant it, because it was very offensive and these are not offensive people. I was like, could you translate the translation? Could you try that with different words? And then they
Again.
translated, and I was like, yep. Okay, now I understand what you're trying to tell me. But yeah, we all take words so differently.
Yeah. And I think that the way that we use them, the way that we interact, and getting that clarification for you rather than like just like getting offended, like how much healthier is it to just be like, okay, can we just dig in here? Like
Yeah.
just let's
That's not gonna sit well. And I really don't think that's what yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that means a lot too. It's funny, I'm just read about that yesterday. I'm reading Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers about the stories of success. It's fascinating. I mean, he's such a good way of weaving in stories and teaching you stuff. But yesterday was the part I was reading was exactly about that, how it actually took example of airplane crashes and multiple airplane crashes that occurred because of lack of human communication. And the way we speak to others and show that urgency, or you do it and you don't even realize, where you're changing how you deliver the information because let's say you're a subordinate telling your boss some information, or, you're lower to higher. There's a different way of delivery than higher to lower position. And the way that information was delivered was not received in the way it needed to be, and the plane crashed and people died. So it was like all these examples, and then it broke down like how we change our speech to show the lesser, to show respect, but then the message is lost. And it really made me think. Like I learned one of the ways my parents spoke to me to tell us to do stuff was by using a question. It's very confusing when you're giving a command, but you do it in the form of a question. Yes. But it was a very strict household, so we knew better not to answer back. Well, I don't operate that way with my children, so they're very free to explain back to me what that means to them. And so they always say, oh, no. Like I ask them to do something, and they're like, no. Yeah. I'm like, no, wait a second.
Yeah.
I know I put that in a question, but that actually was not a question. Let me try that again.
I do that all the time. Like, that was my mistake. I did phrase that as a question, but it was not. Nope, this was a statement.
Yeah. So like my brain flipped the delivery mode. If the intention to the delivery was not aligned, then of course, how were they supposed to perceive what I was intending? These patterns that we learn that, like you said, we can relearn and unlearn, but sometimes you're not even aware until it's reflected back to you.
Yeah. I've been looking at similar things, and even in the space of communicating just with someone else, and like you're talking about like the tone of deference, or where that urgency is lost because you're trying to, phrase it in a certain way or
right,
be able to. Yeah. But I think also too, like dealing with neurodivergence in our household and like different things too.
Oh,
like
yes.
The way that you phrase things. Yes. Like the way that things are phrased. And one of the things that I've been learning, I think is kind of fascinating too. And I'll notice that I will also engage in this way too. But it's when somebody neurotypical will usually ask, and this is what many of us do, will be like, what is this here for? And what the thing is that you're not actually asking, like, what is this towel or whatever this project is over here? What you're asking is, like, why is it here? What's the plan? Just trying to get more information. Where in neurodivergence too, like, what is this here? You're like, yeah, that is the towel over there. Yeah, like, why don't you ask me if you wanted a different answer? Like, that's not the question that you asked. And I'll notice that.
Just imagine God saying that, like, really, this is the third dimension. Things exist.
This is,
that's great.
And how funny though. And okay, so when you said that, what just came up for me, and this may or may not be a little out there, but when you're saying that, I'm like, what does God, whatever, how are we talking to ourselves, and like the way that we're phrasing our questions, where, depending on how your brain works, what is it actually asking, versus like, if you're asking the universe, if you're asking God, if you're asking for these things, because I feel like that's a very spiritual, like, ask and you shall receive. But like, how are we asking? Are we like, what is this over here? Or are we like, no, I would like these things to come in, or like, I would like more of this stuff. And if we're asking in a tone of deference, if we're asking in a way
general, like, I'm not good enough to ask, or you're too busy to look at me. Yeah. Whoa.
I don't know. It's not a fully fleshed out concept, but it is something that I'm probably going to be mulling over for the next few weeks. So
that's good. That's very good. And it all goes with this, because I feel like that too. Are you speaking from your heart? Or are you speaking from your head? Are you worried about what you think it takes for you to get everything done, or are you open to the fact that you don't have to do this alone and this life alone, and you have people to support you and you have spirit to support you, and leaving that space for being and listening and not just talking and doing.
Yeah. And I think too, like giving yourself the ability, and one of the things that I have had to work on and learn over the past few years too, is that what's working for me doesn't have to look like what's working for anybody else. Like, like the way that I do things and the way that, because I have those perfectionist tendencies where I can want to look at the right way or the best way or the perfect way or the most optimal way to do things. And again, great sometimes. And also sometimes that in itself is just me continually trying to optimize something in my mind or be able to do it the way that I think or that somebody else did it and that this is the best way, where if I would have actually just gone around and done it maybe a way that was less streamlined or less quote unquote efficient, or gave space for me to do this other way, that I can actually get more done because I'm working within my own system and the way that my brain works and the way that my energy flows, and being able to take advantage of that. And I think that this for me comes up a lot with consistency too, where I can't do something 5 minutes every single day for some things. I can't do it. But if I can do 50 minutes on one day and have everything all scheduled out, then that's great. And that giving myself the ability to say, like, consistency is just showing up. So yeah, I can get my workout in every day and that's fine. But I can't do these 5 minute little update things every day, but I can do them once a week. And then I can set them up and then they're ready, and that's still consistent. It doesn't have to look like what somebody else's does.
Amen. I like that a lot. I'm excited for a card pull. I'm secretly hoping you got one, or if there's something else you would like to add.
No, I think that this has been great. I was going to check and make sure we caught everything we needed for heart aligned actions for you. So as long as we're good.
We did. Yes.
Perfect. All right. So today I have courage. And it's like this rocky seashore, waves crashing. The waves crash again and again on the rugged, rocky shore. And yet these ancient rocks face each storm with strength and fortitude. They are strong beyond measure. When the waves are gentle, they stand strong. And when the great storms arrive, they remain strong. They never falter. This card signifies that an enduring, everlasting, passionate courage in the depth of your being is arising. There is nothing that you can't confront and face. You are a warrior of the light. Step forward, throw your shoulders back, and stand up for yourself with passion. Speak up for those less fortunate. Be impeccable in all your actions. This isn't the time to be timid and pull back. Don't be limited by the beliefs of others. Use your passion to make a difference. Courage doesn't mean that you aren't afraid. Fearless means fear less. Acknowledge your fear and take action anyway. Make a stand. You are strong and powerful and have great valor within you.
Goosebumps every time. I mean, heart-aligned actions and have courage. It does take an immense amount of courage to listen to your heart over your head and to do the hard things, which are often the right things to be doing, and to follow that when your head hasn't mapped out all the different ways it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a quote from a girl that I was in a community with at one point, and she might have been quoting it from someone else, but it just has stuck with me. And it is that if it was perfect, it wouldn't be brave. And being able to take action, being able to do the things that you want to do, to be able to put yourself out there, to even have yourself as a person be showing up authentically, heart aligned in the life that you want to be. That if what you're doing was perfect, then it wouldn't be brave. and having the courage to be who you are, to take the actions that you want to take, even in the face of knowing that it might not be done, it might not always be received in the way that you intended, and still showing up and being passionate and doing what you're interested in and what you are here for, that's the real courage.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I don't think we could end on a better note. So
Right.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love our get-togethers, and I look
do
forward to next month and what comes from there.
Yeah, happy February. Thank you for joining me on Intuitive Wisdom. If this episode brought you clarity or inspiration, please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. It truly helps others find this space. And if someone you love, you could use a shift in energy, share this episode with them. You never know what might resonate. For more, explore my frequency reset service, tune into more episodes, or begin the journey through my book, all at deliciousease.com. That's DELICIOUSEASE.com. All right, until next time, trust your energy, honor your space, and keep coming home to yourself.